Why should Catholics be pro-life? Well, as good Catholics, we should probably quickly check the catechism before we start our discussion. It says, from the first moment of his existence, a human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. Bottom line is, every human being has human rights, and specifically the right to life, and that right is inviolable. That means that we cannot take that away no matter what. The easiest way to sum up the pro-life position is you can't kill innocent human beings to solve problems. Now, a lot of people bring up a lot of good points. In the case of abortion, what about a woman who was sexually assaulted? That's probably the worst case, but there are some other cases. A woman who is unemployed, maybe struggling, doesn't have the ability to put food on the table for herself, much less a child that's on the way. Someone in an abusive situation, homeless, addicted to drugs, you name it. And as Catholics, we need to recognize that those are real situations that need to be addressed. But when we go back to the first point, can we kill innocent human beings to solve problems? Imagine a case where a mother was tragically sexually assaulted and found that she was pregnant. Now, imagine that she decided to have that child. And 2 years later, she has a healthy toddler. But then, perhaps she has a bad day. Perhaps, something in her life causes her to remember the horrible trauma that was what that person did to her. And every time she looks at that 2-year-old child, she just sees the face of the man who abused her and violated her so horribly. Should she be able to kill that toddler, that 2-year-old toddler? Now, if you're like most people, you probably say, no, of course not. Well, then we have to ask the same question. Should she have been able to kill that same innocent human being just 2 years and 6 months earlier in the womb? It's a difficult situation, and we can't deny that, but ultimately we cannot we cannot violate the inviolable right to life. And a lot of people might say, well, a baby in the womb, that's not a human yet. That doesn't count. Sure, humans have human rights, but that's not a human. And I think this pretty simple answer to that is we would agree that all humans deserve human rights. And if something is growing, that usually means that it's alive. And if that thing that's alive has two human parents, a mom and a dad, then that usually means that living thing is a human. I mean, I personally don't know of cats or dogs coming out of humans these days, so it's probably a human. And so if we have a living human, then that human deserves human rights. And finally, you might say, well, sure, that's a living human, but it's not a person yet. It must pass through the magical birth canal. It must do this or that to become a human, or have this ability to be able to breathe, to be able to hold their head up, to be able to have certain brain waves. And we just have to look at all these abilities and say, well, what do they need? What do we need for the ability to have a heartbeat, to feel pain, to walk, to, eat solid food? What do we really need to develop these abilities? And usually the answer is just time. We didn't have to go to school and get a degree to learn how to feel pain or to cry or to recognize that this woman is mom and this man is dad. We just needed the time to develop those abilities. And so if we're to say that certain humans don't have human rights, we're to say that humans who aren't old enough don't have human rights, but humans who are old enough are. And so if we're to say that you have to be human plus a certain age to have human rights, how is that different from you must be human plus a certain skin color, or human plus a certain gender, or human plus a certain religion in order to have human rights? And unfortunately, I don't think there's been any good historical examples of that philosophy working out. So ultimately, Catholics should be pro-life because all humans deserve human rights, and we cannot kill innocent human beings to solve problems, no matter how real or legitimate those problems might be.